So Alex, where are we?
We're at the San Jose airport.
Where are we going?
We're going to check out the Agent 2021 Gary Vaynerchuk conference. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching AWV episode number 3. I just got back from Miami, Florida, and seeing a guy I've been following for many, many years, social media guru and entrepreneur Gary Vaynerchuk. So a whole bunch of great content in this episode, and you might recognize a couple other people as well. So check it out. It's Gary, what Gary does. We are in Austin. I always have to think where jet setters are. We're currently in Austin, Texas, Austin Airport, waiting for a layover because you didn't book the one-way flight. So if you guys don't know what Agent 2021 is, it really is about how yesterday's tools are no longer the right tools to be using to grow today's business. And so there's a gap between where consumers are spending their time and where marketers and business people are actually spending their dollars.
You know, what time is it?
5:30.
What time did you go to sleep?
2:30.
What are we doing today?
We are going headed over to Miami Hard Rock Stadium.
And there's a gap between where current consumers are paying their attention and where the marketers and the business people are focusing their money. And so he's going to teach us how to bridge that gap, stand in that gap and be enough. And
Here's some rando guys watching us. I did that too.
Nice.
What's up, guys? So we are at the Hard Rock Stadium here for Agent 2021. It's about to start in about 20-30 minutes or so. So yeah, let's go check it out. We're here on the field.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the CEO of VaynerX, Gary Vaynerchuk.
The energy that I really want to bring this morning, very simply in this calm demeanor, is it hasn't even started. Let's be practical, not on defense. This isn't hoard your money and wait for the world and go into the bunk. This is, if you're making money right now, please reinvest it in the one thing that doesn't get shattered during a bad economy, which is your reputation. I love when people get mad about the word personal brand because they think it's douchey. It's just a semantic of a word. Your personal brand is your reputation. It always mattered. It's how we always made money. It's how so many of you that have been successful for 20 years have been able to be successful, except you didn't have technology to put it on steroids. It was just word of mouth. Now, one shared tweet. Do you know how many of you are taking photos of this, putting it on your social, and then your friends at home see this, and that's why there's gonna be 3,000 people here next year. listening to people complain about Facebook algorithm changes when Facebook is free. If you decide in an algorithm, if you run ads, you don't give a fuck about the algorithm change. I don't give a fuck about the algorithm change. I think the ads are worth $60 and I pay $4. That's a good deal. Could you imagine paying 15x less for something than you feel it's worth? So I don't care about the algorithm change, but if you do, because you got a nice little organic thing going, I just want to remind you something. It's free. You're complaining about something that is free that has helped you sell shit. Let's just quietly, one more time, because I need everybody to actually fucking understand what I'm saying. It's free. There is ridiculous confusion in the system. When MTV was launched, the biggest bands in the world got together for a dinner that one of their managers told me about and decided that they would not make music videos for MTV because that was giving away music for free. That why would we spend money to make a video, put it on MTV, when that's giving people the music for free and they will not go out and buy the record. At the same token, up-and-coming artists, Madonna, Duran Duran, and on, understood that it was where all the attention of the youth was, and it was a gateway drug to the sale. They understood that MTV was a jab, not the right hook. Facebook and Instagram at this second is the most underpriced scaled jab in the history of marketing, except for one other moment. From 2001 to 2005, Google AdWords was a ridiculously underpriced jab. How many people here took advantage of Google 2001 to 2005? Raise your hands. So for you, you really know. That's how I did it. Wine Library had no money, but when you're buying people who want to buy wine for 5 and 10 cents a click, it works out real fast when it's that underpriced. One company during that time acted the way I'm aspiring to act right now as Gary Vaynerchuk on social media. One company from 2001 to 2005 spent enough to justify how underpriced it was. That company was a small book company called Amazon. Amazon, as you all know now, is the company of our world. It will win everything. It hasn't even begun. Literally the only thing that will stop Amazon is antitrust government involvement. Otherwise, it will fucking destroy everything. We are in unprecedented times, and this group is smart enough to be here at this stadium on this day. You are different. You need to understand how different you are in your strategies and your mindset and how you see it in the next 12 hours. I can't thank you enough for being here. I am so excited about Agent 2021. I'm so humbled that you guys are here. I adore you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys throughout the rest of the day. Thank you.
That was cool. Same
All right, personal feeling. How'd you feel about it?
I mean, it's good. I mean, I consume so much of Gary's content. I feel like, he's just encouraging us. He's also a salesman, right? So he wants us to focus on investing in these things, but it's working. And I think that it's just putting us on notice again and on a deeper level. So, I mean, it's good. I like it. I think that gives you job security, right?
Good seeing you, man.
Good to see you. Yeah.
So how you liking it so far?
That's good. It's good.
You got this guy.
Yeah, this
huh?
is Jason.
Jason,
Eric.
how you doing, man?
Cocoa Beach.
Cocoa Beach,
Florida. That's right. Yeah.
So East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, we were the original Snap Pack crew.
Hey,
you
look
are.
at that. I'm everywhere.
I open up Instagram and this is the first post that I see
That's funny.
in person.
Ask you how
Sure.
camera.
Yeah, hi.
So we're curious about, we're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina,
Okay.
we sell real estate.
Cool.
And so after this morning, I'm thinking we probably need to have a
Yeah.
full-time videographer. So how does this work? You just let him follow you around and
We kind of just don't really, we kind of just go off the fly and just run and gun. There's not really, I'm just being myself.
yeah.
And hopefully that resonates with people.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for your brand as well, right? Everyone has their own personal brand, so
Right.
only you can do you, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So Hit me up. Okay. It's okay. So, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for reaching out.
The real life of a real.
Do one more huge shout out here for my man. Yeah, he's here.
What's up?
I'm gonna sit here because we need a little more.
Oh, right there. Oh, that's great on the ass.
Drug dealing is the training ground for gangsters in sales. Because not only do you have to sell, you have to fucking navigate the law. What is the current state of questions in the sector that are coming to you based on where you're positioned in the market?
Everybody asks how to get started. I mean, everybody asks me, how do I get started? Or they've been in the business for a year or two, and they don't know how to get started. That's what everybody wants to know. Even downstairs, we were on the field with you, and people asking, what do I do? Like, how do I get over that kind of like first hump in the business? I don't know anybody. I don't have connections. I don't even know the paperwork. What do I do? And I tell everybody, there's two things you need to do. No matter what, right? You meet 5 new people every single day because you have to add to your social currency. We talked about that. Right? You got to add to your data book, right? Your Rolodex, your Excel sheet, whatever you use, and you have to work with somebody else. You cannot do it by yourself. That was the biggest mistake that I made. That a lot of people think they can get into real estate, they got their license, boom, I'm going to be the best broker ever. Work with someone who's been in the business forever. Work for them for free. Just listen to the conversation. Listen to how they talk to people. Look at how they write their emails. Meet the brokers that they know. Meet the clients that they know. Learn from them. Take the best. Leave the rest. Then do it on your own. That's what I tell people. Because everyone talks about living in the now. Like that's great. But the now is whoever you prepared to be for the last 5 years, right? So, I know I came to New York City to be an actor, but it's a bit serendipitous that I quit acting. I was fired. I quit, got out of it, didn't like it, hated that business. No one in college teaches you the business of acting. They teach you how to be a clock and a frog, and that's your craft. And then you go to New York, and they're like, we don't want you to be a frog. We want you to look like this and dance like this. No? Okay, no money for you. And then by getting out of it and getting into real estate, I then get back in front of a camera to do what I wanted to do in the first place anyway. Because I set up those building blocks from the beginning. So that was my story. Those were my building blocks. You have to figure out what your own are. Because progress is happiness, and if you're doing a little bit more tomorrow than you're doing today, that's going to set you up for future you. And if you don't think that way, then I don't know, that's my stress. My stress isn't financial stress. Even if I buy something, even if I do something, I know I'm going to work my ass off, everything's going to be okay, I don't let that affect me. What I let affect me is that I'm not planning and that I'm not using enough of my potential.
What happens to future Ryan in 5 years? Like, where are you, like right this second, you're thinking about him. I'm dying to hear your current bullet points on him.
If someone just asked me that on the field, they thought, where is everything going to be in 5 years? And I think more than just me, I mean, how many people in here are real estate agents or real estate brokers?
All of them. This is the real estate trend.
Oh, thanks. Sure. I do these things, and I ask that, and like 4 people raise their hands. I'm like, oh, I went to the wrong one. I honestly think within the next 5 years, the brokerage model as we know it in the United States will be over. It's that anybody can market themselves in any other way they want. They can cut out the middle person. Why do I have to go to a brokerage that takes 20%, 10%, 30%, 50% for me to go and meet somebody to make money when I show them an apartment or sell them an apartment? What's the brokerage for? And I think that instead of having some powerhouse brokerages, you're just going to have a lot of awesome brokers who work for themselves or work in individual teams, and that's all that needs to happen. And that's what I want to work towards. And you can tell anybody that I said that, I just don't care.
So we just finished up with the fireside chat with Ryan Serhant and Gary. Ryan went on a really passionate rant about how he came up. I resonated with him because I too started off at a place in which people said I couldn't do it. I couldn't break into this market. I couldn't get into the Silicon Valley market. I couldn't get into the high-end market. Everyone said you can't, you can't, you can't, and yet I did. And so I really like him now. So I'm a fan of Ryan now, and I'm looking forward to watching more of his content. Oh, cool. Hey Ryan.
Hey man.
Hey, thanks, man. Alex Wang, Silicon Valley, Palo Alto.
Oh, Ryan, how are you?
Yeah, resonated with me a lot because, you know, people said I couldn't do it in luxury real estate.
Right.
You can't do it. You can't break into a luxury market. You can't do this. You can't do that.
Right.
And I did. And so, awesome.
This is the vlog starting right now.
Oh, okay, good. There's
First
my
couple
vlog's right there.
Oh, nice.
That's so funny that I was just talking about Ryan, and then he pops up. So, funny. You know what's funny was when Gary is like, drug dealing is a training ground for gangsters in sales, right?
Yeah.
How to get started? I get that question all the time, right? Agents ask me how to get started. Future Alex. Who's the future Jason? 5 years from now, future. And then find your own building blocks, right? You know, my building blocks is different than, everyone thinks like you want to do it like Ryan or do like Gary and like, you know, their building blocks are your building blocks, but that's not true. You gotta find your own building blocks. 5 years, the brokerage model will be over. It's a pretty bold statement, very bold. These guys are just normal guys, you know?
Legacy is greater than currency is religion, right? It's religion. And then what we're talking now is about building your temple or your church, right? Or your mosque, right? You're building, it's the actual thing underneath that. I think of it this way. Macro, patience. So I'm literally playing a 50-year game. VaynerMedia is a bad business, just so you guys know. Like, a client service business in the agency world is not a good business. I'll just be very transparent. We did 114 to 115, wrapping up the numbers, million in revenue last year with 1.4 million in profit. I made more money doing 10 speeches than the entire company made in profit for the year. I mean, like, just, it's not a good business per se to build. I would have built a SaaS product like Buddy Media, you got it? It's because I'm playing a long game that I wanted to build a communication Death Star to point to this event will be more successful because of the machine. Got it? It's like that, right? But it's macro patience, but it's micro speed. I'm real patient in years. I'm frantic as fuck in days. Local content. Like, you can only show your open house so much. You can only tell them in your fucking suit how good you are so many times. Right? Right? Like, it's the same shit. In 3 years, if you spend all your time vlogging about you and your 2 kids and your adventures, then everything you're doing now, you're overthinking what to put out. I want you to put everything out. Do you understand?
Yeah, I have a problem overthinking. That's busy stuff.
Everybody has a problem overthinking, and the people that think the least go the fastest and win the most. So, I'm going to expand, and I know there's more questions. I'll give you one that I've been dying to see. Can somebody please make a 2-minute video of the pothole on the main street that everybody fucking hates? Do you know how many homes you will sell if you do that? Like, you all know these funny little things about your towns, your areas where you sell. Guys, become a media company. You are absolutely the Milburn Item, which is the name of the Milburn newspaper in New Jersey. You are not you. You are the Milburn Item, comma. You sell something, that you are the media fucking company. Then guess what? When you decide you're the media company, you can talk about everything. And then you put a post about the high school football team because now you're really in the groove and you're like, fuck it, what else can I do? And you go and just do a video of the high school football team and that hits a chord. And then all of a sudden triple. Then you start listening. You're like, okay, the pothole no, the Bagel Smith guy no, the high school football team, got it? And then you start realizing, wait a minute, there's so much emotion in that. All the high school families that are, and they're likely to move. You got it? I know your business. I understand enough. You can see where I'm going, right? You can start putting the pieces together. Like your sneakers.
They're not my own.
What's super fascinating to me is the following, which is, we were like, oh shit, CAA and athletes, the big 5, all they do is go into these living rooms and sell fear. They say, well, you can't go with somebody else. We had Ben Roethlisberger. They make you feel safe out of history, which is never the thing that's going to tell you about the future. If somebody was selling you why it was a good idea to buy a bookstore in 2006 because of the history, you made a big fucking mistake. So I don't know your business, but I know your business. That makes a lot of sense to me and is absolutely my biggest observation of selling fear versus optimism and offense. Number one is empathy. Nobody wants to fucking get your email. And when you wrap your head around that, that's the insight. All of a sudden your email can become information. You understand, when you're a media company, you're giving people information. When you're a business, you're selling.
Gary, hey, so I sell real estate in Palo Alto, Mark Zuckerberg's neighborhood.
Yep.
Been following you for years. Thank you. Alex Wang, Palo Alto. Been following you for years, and based upon your advice, I hired my D-Rock full-time, videoing. Now I got a takeaway today from you is that now I got to hire a second person.
Yes.
Right? And so my question to you is, I don't have a chief heart officer.
Yes.
I suck at HR.
Yes.
Tips on hiring and firing.
Okay, so look, I don't have HR. I have Claude as Chief Art Officer for VaynerMedia, 4 offices, 800 employees. But for my team, I am that, and I can manage 17 in a heartbeat. Couple things. Hiring and firing are in reverse, in my opinion, in the market. People are too slow in hiring, right? They're so, soft thought, like they overthink it, and then they triple overthink firing based on ego. Most people don't fire people that they know they need to fire because they take too much pride in how good they are at hiring, which makes no sense. I'm fascinated by this psychology. People don't fire people a stunning amount of time because they don't like the way it looks on them for picking the wrong person, which makes no fucking sense. So here's my thought. Don't overthink hiring. You may not have good intuition, you may, but guess what? As somebody who has really fucking great intuition, I've made a lot of hiring mistakes. So it is a fucking crapshoot, right?
Right.
I think the answer to being great at hiring is firing fast. How long has he been with you?
A year.
Great. So
Don't worry.
But whether it's tomorrow or if it was 7 months ago, the key for everybody is when you know it's not right, you need to move. And you need to move what I struggled with, I used to keep people too long because I felt bad for them and I didn't care about the money loss and I thought I'm so great, they're better with me. But I learned over time, if I've already killed them in my head, they're in lame duck mode here anyway, they're better off doing something else. We have to do a better job of firing out of 2 flaws. Too much compassion, which is your own ego thinking you're a good person and they're better off with you and they're not that great. Or, the ego of you're so good at picking people and you create this weird narrative in your head. I just think speed. Speed's the answer. Hire fast, fire fast. Which one are you going to hire next? Because you actually need to hire 2 more people.
I need a designer.
You need a designer.
Editor.
You need a. He doesn't edit.
He does it now, but he's too busy because we're behind on schedule.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So you also need somebody that turns this stuff into written content. Audio, dude, your podcast. It's a team. You'll have 5 because you'll realize it's worth it. Has this been good?
It's been great. It's been amazing.
It's different, right?
Yeah.
For everybody here, because most people haven't gone there yet. Yeah. Forget about me. What's it meant? Give us a story that encapsulates you doing this.
I mean, just initially, I felt very douchey. Him following me around and stuff like that. But then now, just the content that I have. I mean, I have so much stuff in my brain that I want to share with the world. And now he captures it. I can give it to other people in all sorts of different channels.
You get a business result because of it. That's black and white.
Oh, I just go to my church or go to school. And people say on Facebook and say, "Oh, I see your videos all the time." And that's better than me putting a full-page ad with my big fat face on there in the newspaper, right? It's amazing.
It's actually not that hard to get famous locally.
Yeah.
What he's doing nationally is insanely hard. But to be that Gary V of that area, or for Judy too, it's incredibly easy to get in front of him and cheap. And then it just comes back to the chops.
Yeah.
Right, so life changes, right? So I don't know, but I know that eating shit, AKA putting in the work, being patient, like just grinding, like, you know, just understanding that everything has a cost. And so if you want a whole lot, well, that only comes in one form. Putting in the fucking work.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
Gary.
You got room?
Oh, especially for the Real Estate Evangelist.
Oh.
Jay Marks, how are you?
Hey, good to see you, guys. What market are you in?
Dallas, Texas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, one of my favorite videos where you're talking about, oh, everybody's number one. I've wanted to say that for so long. Here's my card.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely.
Don't stop what you're doing. It's going to be amazing.
Oh, thanks, man. Finished meeting with Gary and Chris over at Curator. Awesome. Thank you, Chris, for hooking us up with that meeting. Man, we were like front row with the Gary for like an hour and a half, right? Yeah. Good to see you.
Dude, I did not know that you were like a spider monkey. You're like a really crazy cool rock
Have you ever
climber.
climbed before? I've been rocking it. I've been love watching your content.
How did you end up with, number one, with the idea, but number two, kind of how did it shake out?
By someone else also in the industry, in his industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to find somebody.
Oh, okay.
I was sitting right behind you. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this, like what spawned. You know, you hired a videographer.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Okay, that's good. All right, you got a card? Okay. All right. I'll send you a message.
Hey guys, how's it going? Yeah, that's great. You mentioned Ridley Scott. It's something I want to kind of find out. Who here considers themselves or feels like they're hampered by being a bit of a perfectionist? Anybody? Decent amount of people, right? That's like, I know, I am too, honestly. And I think sometimes that's one of the worst things. We feel like Ridley Scott has to produce our videos before they're acceptable to send out or they're not embarrassing. But I don't think you could on one hand say, always be creating. I know we have to always create. On the other hand, say, I have to have this produced or directed by Steven Spielberg, right? So they're going to be sometimes rough. And some of the nuances of some of the channels, it has to be a little bit rough, right? They don't let you upload video, so you can only do it native through that channel. So I think just doing that and not worrying about always the production level, I think is important.
But on that note, I think what's really interesting is we now, for the first time ever, in marketing anyway, we have the world's first real focus group. It's called social media. Like in the time gone by, like, you'd have to create an environment where you'd have a focus group. People come in, they eat your M&Ms, you pay them $150, and then they just bitch about your stuff. It's not, there's nothing authentic or real about that. Right now, you put something out there, you get to see how it is or isn't engaged with, and they have no idea, which is a little creepy, but they have no idea that you're gathering that information. So it's super authentic and real. So in a sense, we're all starting to play the game that network television has always had to play, or any entertainment property, where if you were writing a show, or if you're a television network, you do your best homework and you really think about it, but you're just putting pilots out. Maybe this sitcom will take off, maybe this thing will take off, and for every Walking Dead that blows up, there's 27 pilots that never made it, because they have always been at the mercy of the market. So they're taking educated guesses, being true to their network. They're not just going crazy. You want to be within your guardrails and constantly be putting stuff out there. Try, everything. And then when you get a hook, or when you get when it feels like you have something, okay, think about how you can go a little bit more on that. But don't worry about all the others, like the 90% of the stuff you put out there that doesn't hit. Like I said, if we knew all of the failed television shows, there's millions and millions of them, but no, we only acknowledge the big hits. And that's really the mindset that we have to take on now. And so you can't be a perfectionist. You have to be, it's more of a like a batting average type thing. You want to swing more, because you will hit at least one or two out.
Like that you can't lever bullshit, right? Once you get to authenticity, that's the same type of theme there. Creating shows, right? Yeah, so that's my take for that panel.
If I put that 10-minute show per week out, and then that starts to cascade into a dozen, one thing that I think you guys have to remember, the Daily V, I love it, I watch it a lot. I look at the view count. Daily V might get 50,000, maybe 80,000 range. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's pretty close.
A 17-second clip from fucking Daily V on Instagram gets 3 million views. But the problem is you can't just go make the clip. That's what people I think are trying to do. You make the show, you pull the clip from there. So like it's hard for our team to understand, hey, the whole video on YouTube gets the least views.
It's good. I mean, I know all those. I know Kayla. Obviously, she gave a shout out. That was kind of cool. I mean, it's basic email. It's just basic. I mean, basic stuff that's like super simple. The real estate agent's just like writing an email just to connect the coffee with a client. I mean, how advanced is that? But you know, 90% of the agents aren't going to do it because they're the LAA, right? They're the lazy ass agents.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I mean, Chris got into the more tactical stuff because he knows that stuff super well, and that's what he does. I like how Kayla said that, you know, social media is sharing like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even, I mean, I don't like sharing my food in the morning, but even sharing the food or your kids, or you know, that accelerates the trust process. Yeah. You know, and so it brings authenticity. So I think that's great. Oh, and the last thing is that when you're looking on your YouTube channel, most people go to the most viewed video, right? And like I said, don't look at the most viewed. Look at the first few, right? And then you can see their first episode and how it kind of progressed till the most recent ones. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm gonna start looking at the first few instead of the most viewed.
All answer the 5 fundamental questions, and they live by it.
I dare you to answer these questions.
Now remember the context. I am all the things I wrote down in my 20-year vision. Who is that person? It's kind of beginning the framework of how do you get more stuff done. The very first thing I would recommend is you need what we call a do, doing, and done board.
We're ahead of the curve, dude. We're ahead of the curve.
Super fun when I call the executives that actually run the
Now
business.
he's got to execute again and again.
2018.
Rinse and repeat.
You have to say, Alex, it's 5 a.m. It's Monday. Every day we talk at 5 a.m.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Agent 2021 is a wrap here in Miami, and we're headed off to the airport back to the Bay Area. I hope you enjoy the content. I hope to see you soon. Take care.